This is CBC Here and Now.
Revved up and ticked off. This was the scene at the bottom of Signal Hill last evening. Dozens of bikers making themselves heard.
Yeah, this comes right after a recent meeting at City Hall where residents expressed their anger over the lack of action to stop bike noise. Now they feel these motorcyclists were trying to send a message loud and clear.
Harassment and intimidation, not just obnoxious, but actually noxious in the degree to which it was just the noise levels that they'd achieved and the aggression that was implicit in the way they were behaving. So.
Meanwhile, across town at around the same time last evening, someone took aim at 3 motorcycle drivers on Torbay Road.
Yeah, a woman pictured here allegedly sprayed a can of Raid bug spray at passing bikers.
One of the drivers captured the incident on video. Michael Strickland told CBC that one of the motorcyclists had to get his eyes flushed out.
Yeah, he says when he confronted the woman about her actions, she told him to stay back, you're a danger to the roads.
Strickland also says with the debate about motorcycle noise, he thinks some people might support the woman's actions. He says people will consider this woman a hero for doing this with this whole biker debate.
Now, for its part, the RNC says it is investigating the incident.
Yes, in about 15 minutes, we'll go back to Signal Hill, where one resident thinks these 2 incidents are a sign that tensions are rising.
Yeah, and here's some other stories we have for you tonight.
According to the doctors, I only had a couple of hours.
She's still recovering, but she's speaking out to help others.
The chase continues. Thousands seek their fortune in the Goulds.
When I got injured, I didn't think I'd ever be able to perform any sort of sport again.
Getting a new start at the Invictus Games.
Our next low is rolling in with clouds and rain. It's going to get an extra boost from Hurricane Gert, which is moving in from the south. The details are coming up.
Well, a young woman continues her recovery tonight at the Health Sciences Centre in St. John's after suffering a recent stroke.
Yes, Carly White went to hospital in Gander with what she thought was a migraine.
Yeah, but she awoke a different person in St. John's, and now she has a message for all young adults. Here now's Ryan Cook has more.
This was Carly White and her husband Nathaniel just over a year ago. Happy, carefree, in love. Now their lives have changed, but the love remains.
Nathaniel's my rock. He's been there through everything that I've had to go through. And I hope in the future, if he has to go through anything, that I'll be as strong as he was for me.
Carly left her home in Carmenville on July 31st. She had a headache. She was dizzy and confused, but inside her head, a blood clot was blocking flow to the left side of her brain.
I walked into the Gander Hospital with a migraine, and that's all that I can remember. And then hearing that I had to be held down by 6 nurses was pretty scary. And then waking up in a completely different hospital, different town was terrifying.
She woke up with her father standing over her. Her head was shaved. A portion of dead brain tissue was removed. She couldn't feel her throat or move her left side, but things could have been worse.
I'm glad I went when I did, because according to the doctors, I only had a couple of hours, and otherwise I would have been kaput and gone.
White will now lean on Nathaniel to get through 6 to 8 weeks of rehab. She can't stop thinking about her wedding last May, and she can't stop thinking of how lucky she is to be alive.
It might only be a headache, it might be a lot worse. I mean, I lost all my hair. It was down to about here at least. So, it feels weird. It's completely life-changing.
White wants all young adults to know the symptoms: sudden numbness, confusion, blurred vision, trouble walking, and severe headache, because a stroke does not care about your newlywed life. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Wow, it's such a powerful story, and it's not too often that you hear firsthand about this kind of health emergency.
Yeah, and as you heard Ryan talk about in the story, there are some symptoms that you can watch out for when it comes to a stroke. You can get that information online, heartandstroke.ca, and you see the address there on the bottom of the screen. Well, now to Bannerman Park in St. John's, where people gathered last night to denounce white supremacy and racism. The event is in response to Saturday's deadly rally that was led by white nationalists in Charlottesville, Virginia. People carrying signs and speaking called for a stop to hatred.
And even though this happened thousands of kilometers away, this affects everyone. And if it's a problem there, it's a problem here. So we should all take a stand. Seeds grow where they're given soil, so it's things like these that don't give it fertilizer. We need to show that we don't accept these kinds of attitudes and we won't let such hatred grow here.
Well, meanwhile, in Charlottesville, people paid tribute today to the young woman who died on the weekend. They packed a historic theater for a memorial service to Heather Hare.
My child's famous Facebook post was, "If you're not outraged, you're not paying attention."
Hare was 32.
She paid attention.
Hare was 32. She was killed on Saturday when a car rammed into a crowd of demonstrators. They had gathered to oppose a so-called Unite the Right rally. The violence and the response from the president have caused outrage across the country.
Back to some local politics. Doc is leaving the building. Dennis O'Keefe, the mayor of St. John's, won't be seeking re-election. He made the announcement today in St. John's. Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports.
The man they call Doc, St. John's Mayor Dennis O'Keefe, is calling it quits. After 20 years on council, including the last 12, as either deputy mayor or mayor, he says it's time for someone else to lead the city.
It's time for me to turn myself back to my family.
With members of his family looking on, O'Keefe reflected on his political career. First elected in 1997, deputy mayor in 2005, and mayor for the past 9 years. O'Keefe's greatest accomplishments? He says bringing decorum back to council chambers and helping build a new senior executive team. Stepping away was a difficult decision. O'Keefe believes he could have won another term. But a recent exchange with his 6-year-old grandson was a tipping point.
He said, "Do you have to go to work all day?" And I knew what he meant. Could I stay?
And in a move that surprised no one, O'Keefe made it clear who he would like to see in the mayor's chair after next month's election. Ward 1 councillor Danny Breen. He cautioned citizens about supporting former Mayor Andy Wells, who's attempting a comeback.
I'd like to picture Mayor Wells as being the regressive mayor, and hopefully the newly elected Mayor Breen would be the proactive, futuristic mayor.
Well, I think it's a positive step. You know, whenever you get an endorsement from the current mayor, that's something that you're very pleased with.
Wells says it's clear that voters now have some very clear choices to make when they mark their ballots.
They've circled the wagons. And if the taxpayers of St. John's are happy with the status quo, they got to vote for Danny Breen. If you want change, well, I'm your man.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe says his priorities now include learning how to swim again and enjoying a family vacation in the fall. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
The Fish, Food and Allied Workers Union admits it made a mistake in relaying false information to the family of deceased fisherman Calvin Tobin. The union originally said there was no death benefit available because Tobin was a day late in paying his union dues. Thus, his insurance had lapsed. But according to the FFAW project manager, Robert Keenan, that information was wrong and Tobin was covered for $30,000 worth of life insurance. Keenan says the union should have been a pillar of support and it regrets the mistake. Tobin died when the car he was traveling in collided with a transport truck near Clarenville. The driver of the car has since been charged with impaired driving causing death.
There's optimism in the air as polls are about to close in Natwashish and Sheshashi. The Innu Nation is electing its new leaders. In previous elections, there were allegations of vote buying with cash and booze, but this year there's been a lot of positivity about how candidates campaigned. Here Now's Jacob Barker has more.
Well, there's been a constant stream of people flowing in and out of this polling station all day long. Most of them telling me they're feeling good about this election, especially the way it's been run.
It was different seeing a clean election around town. I don't know, there was a lot of partying last election, I remember.
Youngsters now are taking those sober walks and getting a lot of recognition and a lot of respect there from the elders. And those youngsters are one day are going to lead us in the same direction that we were going, to resolve the land claims issues and social issues that are happening in the community.
What the people want to see is fair and equitable process during the election. and hopefully, like I said, the people are mutually respected, and at the end of the day, when everything all done, the people, the Innu will all come together and embrace the result, and I believe and I trust that people will do that.
We see a lot of people are really interested in the sober election, and you don't see too much alcohol being distributed, and and drugs and all that stuff, and so we fully support the sober election.
I'm running in this election, and I'm letting everybody know I'm going to run a sober, clean election, and that's what I've done.
This election will decide who from Natwashish will become the Grand Chief and who from Sheshatshiu will become Deputy Grand Chief. That's because these positions rotate from one community to the other. There will also be 3 female and 3 male board members being elected. And as for final results, I'm being told it could take several hours once polling stations close to get all those votes counted, and we may not know who won until tomorrow morning. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Shehajit.
Well, Carolyn, it's Wednesday, so that can only mean one thing for a lot of people in the greater St. John's area. It's Chase the Ace night in the Goulds.
Yes, the little church fundraiser that has grown into a jackpot that some predict will top $1.5 million tonight. It's now actually the largest Chase the Ace prize to date.
Yeah, once again, here now Zach Gowdy is down there. I think he's bought his tickets. Although, Zach, I understand you've heard from some people who are looking to strike it rich, but also some people who aren't pleased that this has dragged on for almost a year.
Yeah, Peter, though you would never know it from looking at the crowd this evening. Outside, they are wrapped around the parking lot. Inside, every single station selling tickets is completely packed. The money is being forked over, hand over fist, and now with less than 2 hours before game time, things are heating up. But yes, I would say the theme of the day has been people saying that this chase has been an amazing ride, but that it's time for it to come to an end. I've heard from lots of players today who told me things like they're sick of missing their Wednesday night golf game every single week. People who are coming from out of town say they're tired of the drive and organizing their whole week around having to be here every Wednesday. And of course, the locals. We've talked about the tremendous disruption in the community, from the traffic, from everything else that goes along with an event this size. Although if you ask those same people, so do you intend to keep coming on here until the ace is found? They say, yeah, of course. Are you kidding? So the lure of the $1.5 million prize is strong, no matter how annoyed people may be. But another group expressing similar feelings is local business owners. We've talked a lot about the boon that this event has been for people who are running restaurants or gas stations in the Goulds. Indeed, for those people, it's like they've won the lottery themselves. But for businesses that need to operate with a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 schedule, again, it's a very different story. Just across the street here from St. Kevin's Hall is a service station run by a man named Bill Vincent. And Bill says that pretty much he has been losing a day a week of business all summer long. Customers don't want to take appointments at his garage on Wednesday. Parts suppliers don't want to drive into the Goulds on Wednesday. And if you're running a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 business, losing one day a week is losing 20% of your sales. Let's take a listen to what Bill Vincent had to say.
Nobody wants to come in and get caught up into it. You know, so for me, revenue on Wednesday is zilch, nothing. I just can't get nothing done. And I still have expenses going on Wednesday as well as Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday. But I just can't do anything. Because like I said, it's a snowstorm. In the wintertime, we have a snowstorm. Resent it? Well, I suppose you have to kind of have some kind of resentment because of the business loss that's there. You know, the loss of revenue for me and my staff, if I have to shut down early and go home, well, my staff is losing as well. You know, but I think just about every one of them plays Chase the Ace anyway, so they're all hoping.
So there's that same upshot. You know, even people who have something negative to say don't want to say it too loudly, considering that all of their friends and neighbors and family and employees and coworkers are all here too, chasing along. All right, coming up a little later on here now, we'll talk to some people who are chasing fundraising dollars at this event and doing very well at it indeed. Reporting live from Goulds, I'm Zach Gowdy for Here and Now.
Well, people in the military gathered at Cape Spear early this morning and unrolled the flag that represents the Invictus Games. If you're unfamiliar with that sporting event, well, you won't be. Stay tuned. We'll tell you more about it in 3 minutes.
And later, We'll take you to Signal Hill to hear what it was like when dozens of motorcyclists held an impromptu protest in that neighborhood last night. Here's a hint, it was pretty noisy.
Well, before we get to the weather, it's not a bad night out there, whether or not you're going for a walk or maybe going for a fly. Let's take a look. Here's the live shot of the eagle's nest.
The Ospreys? Is this the...
Sorry, Ospreys.
Yeah.
Osprey. Looks like... Now, I can't see the little baby. I know they were teenagers the last time. That's them?
These are them. Okay, we're being told that these are the youngins.
Okay, they grow up so fast.
Don't they? I would presume that they've left the nest by now. Have they been flying?
Yeah, well, unless they're like youngsters these days, hanging around at the parents' house long after they should have left.
Yeah, and according to Newfoundland Power, these youngsters are, yes, growing like a weed, as most youngsters do, and could leave the nest any day now to start flying south. So they are trying to fatten up, which looks like maybe that's what one of them is doing right there, having a little munch on something there, perhaps a little fish. So anyway, great to always check in with the Osprey cam there. Thanks to Newfoundland Power for setting that up, because it's been so cool to watch that over the last couple of months. Okay, so not bad where the Ospreys are here in the east, still dry for Metro, but we've got some showers rolling in from the west through the day today. And have a look. Our live look starts in Port aux Basques, and you can see it looks pretty dreary there. Fog has been rolling in. Winds are from the south. Temperatures near 17 degrees. And yeah, that is thanks to our next system, which is rolling in. Now, it will actually be the east, northeast, and up towards the northwest and into southeastern Labrador, these areas under the special weather statement that see the heaviest rainfall over the next couple of days. It is thanks to the system that's moving in from the west, but also thanks to, yes, Hurricane Gert. We've been talking about this all week long, and that setup is coming to fruition now as we watch low number 1 move in with those showers over the west coast, pushing in across the southeastern parts of Newfoundland with scattered showers through this evening into the overnight. And again, here is Gert, well to the south, but that feed of moisture already starting to work its way up into the Grand Banks and over southeastern parts of the island. And look at this visible satellite shot, very impressive. I'm going to get out of the way so you can see some of the details there. Hurricane Gert is indeed now a Category 2 storm. Sustained winds of 160 kilometers per hour. And with that visible satellite, you can see those thunderstorms bubbling up around the center of that storm. The eye pretty well defined there, and that is moving at a pretty good clip now. It's actual movement of the storm at 50 kilometers per hour, so it will sail to the south through the day tomorrow at a pretty good clip, and here is how it will play out with your future tracker. There's Gert off to the south. Now note the moisture that again is going to be coming out of this system, and with that low moving in from the west, we've got scattered showers for most of the island tomorrow and some steadier rains northern peninsula and southeastern Labrador, even back into Happy Valley Goose Bay. As we work throughout the day tomorrow, this is where we'll really start to see some of that moisture feeding out of Gert and into this new low, which will be, again, most prevalent, I think, tomorrow with the heaviest rain over the northwest part of the island and southeastern Labrador. Certainly the potential for some steadier showers for the Avalon, St. John's, up the northeast coast into central through the afternoon. Lesser risk for the southwest half of the island. As we roll through Thursday night into Friday, really that feed of moisture really starting to transfer here. And this is where we've got a lot of uncertainty because so much is going on when these two systems are interacting, and forecast models are having a difficult time nailing down just how much moisture potential there will be here. So seeing some different ideas on just how much rain will flood down across the north coast, central, and then eventually the northeast coast and into St. John's on Friday. This is one idea. This is the European model. It's one of the more consistent ideas, which is showing 20 to 50 millimeter potential, certainly for the northern peninsula down the north coast into central. I think that 20 to 50 potential also exists down the northeast coast into St. John's. That's why Environment Canada has also issued that special weather statement with that potential through Friday. So here is how your morning shapes up. We've got good shower chances for, again, Labrador and down across most of the island. Temperatures will start the day mild, and as we move into the afternoon, likely some sunshine breaking through, as I mentioned. Not so much western Newfoundland with a bit of an onshore flow, but certainly the south coast, the Burin Peninsula up into Placentia Bay. Perhaps a late day sunny break or two for St. John's. Might not be till after supper, though, with those shower chances, at least through the later parts of the afternoon. And you can see where the winds are rounding in from the east for the north coast and up into the northern peninsula, so temperatures are going to be quite cool there tomorrow, and especially southeastern Labrador. We're talking about 10 to 12 degrees. That rain tapering off to some showers into the afternoon. Happy Valley Goose Bay, Labrador City near 17. And again, that feed of moisture will be most prevalent for central and the northeast coast on Friday with cool temps, northerly winds, a really fall feeling type day. But we're clearing out nicely for Labrador and across western Newfoundland. We'll talk about the weekend in detail coming up in just a few minutes. Peter?
Thank you very much, Ryan. Well, it's an event that originated with Prince Harry. The Invictus Games are a parasport competition for wounded military members. Next month, the Games come to Toronto, but today the Invictus flag was unfurled at Cape Spear. There's only one athlete from this province competing. Tyson Tulk from Aspen Cove is going to be Team Newfoundland and Labrador. He's competing in archery, shot put, and powerlifting. Here and Now's Chris O'Neill-Yates was at today's event.
The Invictus Games flag was unfurled here this morning at Cape Spear, the most easterly point in North America. The Invictus Games will start in Toronto coming up on the 23rd of September. Simultaneously, a flag was unveiled out in Victoria, BC, and they'll make their way to Toronto where the Games will start. Newfoundland and Labrador has one participant in the Invictus Games. His name is Tyson Tulk. Tyson broke his ankle and was unable to continue his military service and was medically discharged. And he's going to be taking part in 3 events at the Invictus Games. He says it's a wonderful thing for people who have had to leave the military to come together again.
I don't even know if there's like one word for that. It's just an amazing opportunity all around. I remember growing up, I was always into athletic things, sports, basketball, martial arts. And when I got injured, I didn't think I'd ever be able to perform any sort of sport again, and now I'm competing on an international level, so that's pretty amazing.
The idea of the Invictus Games is healing and coming together through sport. This idea came from Prince Harry, no less. He decided that he would found the Invictus Games. The first was in London in 2014 and then later in Orlando, Florida. Now it's come to Canada and begins in Toronto, and it's an opportunity for military people to use physical activity, even though they have limitations caused by injury, to use physical activity as part of the healing from the injuries they suffered while off in other countries protecting people back here in Canada. Chris O'Neill Yates, CBC News, Cape Spear.
Well, coming up next, a resident of Signal Hill tells us about last night when dozens of motorcycle drivers protested in the neighborhood. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, as you saw and heard earlier in the show, residents on Signal Hill were apparently targeted last night by motorcyclists bent on causing a racket. Between 8 and 9 o'clock last night, the noisy group paraded up and down the road, revving their engines, honking their horns in what looks like an attempt to rattle residents. Some locals feel this commotion was an aggressive response to recent complaints made at a public meeting about loud motorcycles disturbing the peace. Paul Rowe lives in the area. I spoke with him about what he witnessed last night.
Last night was an extraordinary situation, a little bit surreal, I think, actually, but basically what happened is my wife and I had gone for a walk up through the park and so on, and as we were coming down past the Geo Center and there sort of by Cabot Avenue, a little convoy of 40 or 45 or so of the motorcycles, obviously making some kind of a statement, kind of blasted their way up the hill, and then when we got down here, the people had gathered in the streets and so on, and then we watched them process their way back down the hill, honking and doing wheelies and being quite provocative and obviously making some sort of statement.
What do you think that statement was?
Well, the statement is that I guess what they're saying is we object to any measures that might be taken by the city, by the community here in this neighborhood in particular, to quieten and calm the sounds, the noise, the traffic, and so on that we're concerned about as members of the community.
So this is where you were standing last night. What kind of response did you see from the residents who came out onto the street?
Most people were just shaking their heads in wonder and disbelief, really. I don't know what else to say. You know, I don't think people were actually frightened or intimidated, although I think it's kind of at the edge of that, what those guys were up to. It seemed to be a way of saying we don't care. They're flaunting not only our wishes and desires and whatever measures we're trying to take to live in a quiet community, but also any legal authorities that might be involved in bringing that about. So it seemed to be kind of thoughtless and ill-conceived, in my view.
The word harassment has been used. Did you feel like it was harassment?
Harassment and intimidation, basically, was the tactic. If we were going to describe it as the tactic, yeah. Harassment and intimidation, not just obnoxious, but actually noxious in the degree to which it was just the noise levels that they'd achieved and the aggression that was implicit in the way they were behaving. So.
How did that kind of aggression make you feel?
Well, again, you know, it's just a disbelief, I think, on the part of most of the residents, but nobody's going to be deterred from moving forward on what we're trying to achieve here. I mean, the understanding has to be, I think, that, you know, every time somebody has a right, that right has to be arbitrated with somebody else's rights. So, you know, people feel strongly that they have a right to make as much noise as they want to, but people have a right to, you know, have quiet in their homes and to be able to sleep peacefully at night. So it's the job of our elected representatives, the municipal governments, the communities themselves to arbitrate those rights. And so whoever, you know, these people are, they need to understand that, you know, we have a right to a peaceful and a quiet neighborhood, and legislators are going to get involved, and we're going to find our way through this. And they're going to be left behind by history, in my opinion. You know, they're going to be like people who say, I have a right to smoke wherever I want to. And in 10 or 15 years, you know, we'll look back and we'll say, what a ridiculous notion, because, you know, why should other people be forced to breathe your smoke any more than why should other people be forced to, you know, absorb the noise, the needless and excessive noise that you feel you have a right to make. So I think we're going to find our way through this.
So last night, at the same time all of this was happening, there was another incident that was underway with a resident that had sprayed Raid on a group of motorcyclists that were driving by. What's your take on that?
I think it's an indication that the overall situation is escalating in an unfortunate way, and that both sides need to calm down, and that most importantly, the regulatory agencies, the municipal government, provincial government, the law enforcement agencies that can actually make the changes required to do something about this situation need to get moving, and we need to get acting on it before things worsen.
Has a point. So what's to be done? Well, Councillor Jonathan Galgay, who organized Monday's meeting, says the province needs to change the Highway Traffic Act. This afternoon, we reached out to the provincial government to ask about that, but we haven't received a response so far.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on that. As for the police, they say they don't have training to inspect modified exhaust pipes. And there will be more on this on tomorrow's St. John's Morning Show. At around 7:40 a.m., RNC Chief Joe Boland weighs in on this matter. Shot of the Goulds, where lots of people not only getting their tickets for Chase the Ace, but a little bite to eat.
Yes, it seems like quite the crowd is gathering. A huge jackpot this evening. They're predicting $1.5 million perhaps could go in the Goulds tonight. So we'll be watching that, and Zach will be coming up in a little bit with more.
Welcome back to Here and Now, and we're heading back now to the Goulds, where crowds have been steadily growing. It seems like every Wednesday since October, the crowds have been getting a little bit bigger.
Absolutely. It's a draw night for Chase the Ace, the fundraiser at St. Kevin's Parish. And with the jackpot expected to top $1.5 million, it is now officially the largest Chase the Ace jackpot ever in this province. So let's bring in here now Zach Gowdy again, who has spent most of the day talking to people who are hoping their lottery ship comes in tonight. Zach?
Yes, indeed. While people here in Goulds have been chasing the ace, all around there are groups who are chasing fundraising goals that are suddenly a lot more attainable thanks to this Chase the Ace event. For example, there is a community group over here selling access to a parking lot, another one over here selling popcorn. All around there are young people carrying wagons full of cold pop and chips, and all of those dollars too are going to a good place. Right here with perhaps the biggest tent on the field is the Cabot Taekwondo Club. We've got some of their members here. I'm going to speak with Alex and Elizabeth and Julia about the money you're raising. But first of all, guys, you got to promise not to beat me up if you don't like the way this goes. Okay? Okay, we got your word on that. So Alex, tell me what you guys are doing back here to raise some money for your club.
Oh, so pretty much we're just selling hot dogs, candy, chips, tea, coffee, you name it, we probably have it. So yeah.
I've had a few and they're pretty good today. Elizabeth, you guys are raising money for a specific goal, I understand.
Yeah, we're selling foods and stuff for the Can-Ams up in Ontario, and we're going in June, and we're starting our fundraising early this year because of JCAs.
I'll bet you're getting a great head start on that.
Oh yeah, a lot. Usually we start in the fall, but then we started in June, I think.
Julia, what kind of things do you normally do to raise money?
We do like bottle drives and flea markets.
I bet you some of those things are a lot harder, shall we say, and maybe less profitable than this tent you're running back here.
Yes.
Yeah. Does any of you, I know this is kind of a grown-up question, but do you know how much money you've made back there so far today?
Today we probably made about 1,500, is that?
Whoa, 1,500!
Maybe a bit less, but yeah.
But overall, we've made enough money for about 4 out of the 28 people to have a trip up to Ontario.
That, you know what, that's a great head start. You know, how many bottle drives would you have to do to make $1,500?
A lot.
Quite a lot. So tell me more about the trip you're going on. This is the Can-Am Games that's happening next winter, hey?
It's happening next in the summer, next June. And so basically we go up for about a weekend and we have one day of fun. So we go up to Lake Canada's Wonderland and then we have a competition all day the next day.
Julia, it's a lot of money to raise for that short trip, but I bet it'll be worth it in the end.
Yes.
And when you get there, will you be thinking about all the people who, you know, forked over their loonies and toonies in order to send you on the trip?
Probably not.
Yeah. Having too much fun at Canada's Wonderland, I hope. Just before I let you guys go, if the Ace doesn't go tonight, will you be back next week?
Yes.
Definitely.
But do you think it's going to go tonight?
We hope it goes. There's a lot of work that goes into this.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Guys, best of luck to you today on your trip, and thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we've been hearing that sentiment a lot lately, but you know what? Sometimes kids are really good at predicting these kind of things. Let's hope they're right. If you want to see the draw, the money shot live, tune into the CBC NL Facebook page at 8 o'clock. We'll have it for you there. And I'm Zach Gowdy reporting live from the Goulds.
It's amazing how much can happen in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier we were showing you the young osprey in St. John's. They're hanging out. Ryan, you mentioned that they were getting ready to leave their nest. Well, have a look at this.
Yes, in the last 20 minutes or so, at least one of them has been practicing flying. Now, they haven't actually left the nest yet, but they are using their wings for the first time and getting some height, rising into the air, maybe exercising a little bit.
So no doubt these guys are going to be leaving the comforts of home very soon to fly south for the winter, as we mentioned. Newfoundland Power mentioning that this could happen any day. Well, they're really getting a good workout there.
Either that or one of them's hot and is just getting fanned by the other one.
True,
But
yeah.
siblings aren't usually that. So did you mention winter?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Can't
Well,
even
we are
think
into
about
hurricane
that.
season, so that is the first step, of course, tropical season, and really turning active in the tropics over the next week to 10 days. So lots to keep an eye on. Gert is, of course, the first one that we're watching, and there's the tropical satellite. The last shot does drop out as that sun is setting, but boy, what a shot that is, that visible satellite image there of Gert today. Category 2 storm now, 160 kilometer per hour sustained winds, gust of 195, and it's a good thing this thing will be sailing to our southeast over the next day or so. The good news is, yes, it is passing to our southeast. Unfortunately, it will be providing some extra moisture to this system, which is rolling in from the west. And it is also going to be creating a little bit of a headache for meteorologists trying to nail down just how much moisture it is going to feed into this storm. Lots of uncertainty as we roll forward over the next 24 to 48 hours. There's the setup Thursday morning. Showers across the island, most steady rain from the northern peninsula into southeastern Labrador. So we work throughout the afternoon. Showers at times heavy from the Burin up through the northeast into central, and then that rain again continues for the northern peninsula into southeastern parts of Labrador as Gert continues to transfer this moisture into this low. So temperatures are going to likely top out in the high teens tomorrow on the island. We're going to be seeing Happy Valley Goose Bay near 15. Labrador City should actually see some sun breaks into the afternoon. Highs near 17. Nain and down through the north coast, temperatures in those low double digits. Now, Thursday evening into the overnight, that moisture continues to pull into this new low, which is now just moving off the northeast parts of the island, and you can see where that heaviest rain is looking set to work down the north coast into central Newfoundland and then sweep down into the northeast and into St. John's through the day on Friday, with some clearing from west to east across Labrador and into western parts of Newfoundland. So temps here will recover into the high teens, maybe even some low 20s. We're talking about mid-teens at best in those onshore northerly winds. I showed this earlier. This is the European model forecast projection, which shows potential for 20 to 30 millimeters across southern Labrador, 20 to 50 millimeters from the Straits, right down that coast of Newfoundland and down towards the St. John's region. I think the Avalon included in there as well. Special weather statements from Environment Canada have been issued. And also worth mentioning, 20 to 50 millimeters could certainly see some localized amounts heavier than that, where we see those heaviest pockets of rain line up and roll in from the north as we again roll through Thursday and through the day on Friday. Finally drying out for Saturday, just in time. Saturday looks like a beautiful day. So after a couple of damp ones, we get to wring the socks out and enjoy what will be a terrific day on Saturday. Temps flirting with 20 in St. John's. The northwest winds may hinder us a little bit, but high pressure will continue to hold on for the most part on Sunday. Showers roll in from west to east. Keeping an eye on the Monday setup. Will be clear for the solar eclipse. The European model you're seeing there seems to think that we'll have at least some sun breaks in the mix for Monday. Still a couple days out. We'll keep you posted there. Tuesday, Wednesday looking solid, and look at those temps building in as well. And for Labrador, again, nice day Friday, Saturday, and showers rolling in on Sunday.
Well, it's time now to introduce our young athlete of the day. Sydney Jane Whitty from Torbay is 10 years old and plays hockey with the Northeast Eagles Minor Hockey Association and the Under-12 Metro League.
Sydney Jane keeps active all year, playing soccer and softball and taking swimming lessons. She also rowed with her team Evans New Leaf, coming first in Harbour Grace and third at the regatta.
Congratulations, Sydney Jane. You are today's young athlete of the day.
Well, coming up next, we're going to take you to Washington and hear from the head negotiator from this province talking about NAFTA negotiations between Canada and the U.S. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Talks to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement kicked off today in Washington. All three parties, Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, are coming at the talks from very different angles. Canada's team wants to modernize the agreement, while the Americans want a major overhaul.
Countless Americans, this agreement has failed. We cannot ignore the huge trade deficits, the lost manufacturing jobs, the businesses that have closed or moved because of incentives, intended or not, in the current agreement.
Trade is about people. It's about creating the best possible conditions for jobs, for growth, and for prosperity. And that's why we are very committed to working hard in the coming weeks and months to modernize NAFTA.
Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland says Canada's economic growth depends heavily on NAFTA. Her team sees the talks as an important opportunity to cut red tape and improve the flow of goods and workers across the border. Freeland says Canada will seek better labor and environmental standards. She's also pushing for a new chapter on gender equality and Indigenous people. So what could the impact be on this province? Representing Newfoundland and Labrador at these talks is Jeff Loader, and we've reached him in Washington. So what's the mood like there? We heard today from Trump's trade czar that he wants to almost blow up NAFTA, that they want big concessions. What's the feeling like going into these negotiations?
I think the atmosphere is electric. It's also serious. I mean, NAFTA is an important economic agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And I think there's a common interest, and you can see it here in modernizing the agreement and bringing it up to date, since it's a 23-year-old agreement.
Now, we're physically the farthest province away from the U.S. How important is trade with the U.S. to the economy here?
Trade with the United States is extremely important. It's Newfoundland and Labrador's primary export market. 60% of the province's exports and goods go to the United States, when compared to our second biggest trading partner in goods, which is the UK, at 9%. That's just one example of how important it is. I mean, every year, $5 to $6 billion worth of exports go into the US from Newfoundland and Labrador.
And when you talk about exports, what sort of products are we talking about here?
We're talking about oil and gas products, refined oil and gas products, newsprint. Fish and seafood is extremely important. Annually, the province exports, approximately $500 million worth of fish and seafood into the U.S. So it's an extremely important market.
Now, everyone coming into these talks is going to be looking to try and make the agreement better. What have you heard from businesses here? What sort of improvements are you going to be looking for as part of NAFTA?
Well, the Premier set up a stakeholder table so that we have very informed provincial positioning. And one of the things we have heard is that there is a need to modernize the agreement by bringing it into 2017. I mean, the economy today is very different than it was 23 years ago. Things like electric commerce, things like labor mobility. There are areas in this agreement where we can tackle certain regulations that would allow businesses to operate more efficiently.
We've seen Trump and his representatives take aim at NAFTA. He's made it clear he doesn't like the way a lot of it operates. He's been talking about things like tariffs. How big of a concern is all this? And if they do get some concessions, how much could this affect the economy here?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you negotiate or update a trade agreement, it's significant. That being said, I mean, we're at the stage now where the negotiations are focused on creating rules. It'll be much further down the line later this fall, or even beyond that potentially, where the parties to this agreement get into a conversation around to what extent they're prepared to be bound by those rules. But I do think there's a common understanding that maintaining each party's market access to the other party is extremely important. And we've heard from businesses across the province that maintaining our current level of market access into the United States is very important.
Well, good luck at the negotiations, and thanks for joining me from Washington.
Anytime, Peter. Have a good day.
Well, now to Toronto, where the CN Tower is open for business again after a fire scare early this morning. It created some tense moments for workers.
I heard it at first.
I was just still continue to do my job because I didn't take it seriously. But then afterwards, when they said exit, then I'm like, whoa. So I just grabbed my stuff and just left.
The fire was in the tower's antenna mast above the observation deck. 7 fire trucks and 28 firefighters raced to the scene. Officials believe the flame started in an electrical conduit. No injuries are reported.
Police in Williams Lake, BC have arrested 5 men for deliberately setting fires. RCMP are calling it a criminal case of arson. They say the alleged fire setting was an attempt to stage multiple break-and-enters inside the fire zone. The arrests come just weeks after evacuees returned to their homes. Crews in BC's interior are still fighting to contain more than 100 wildfires.
Whether it was young Elvis or jumpsuit Elvis, the King still has a big place in the hearts of many rock and roll fans. Today marks the 40th anniversary of his death. Thousands gathered at his estate in Memphis last night for a vigil, but for the first time, Graceland is charging a $30 entrance fee.
Welcome back to Here and Now. This next story we have for you is a bit of a gem. How's this for a garden discovery? A 1-carat ring.
Started looking, I crawled on my hands and knees and feet and everything, or hands way down, and I just couldn't find it.
84-year-old Mary Graham says she lost her engagement ring back in 2004 while pulling weeds in her family farm in Alberta. For more than a dozen years later, it sprung right back up, held safely inside a carrot. Graham says the ring is now going to stay right on her finger where it belongs. Still fits and everything.
Wow.
What a story.
1-carat diamond ring.
I thought you'd like
good. Well, there's nothing quite like hitting a beach on a hot day, no matter how far north you may be. These daring dippers took the plunge into Arctic waters over the weekend in Cambridge Bay, Nunavut to be exact. Temperatures there hit a record 21.6 degrees. Ryan, that's a record high? Wow.
Yeah. I'm guessing the water was a little cooler than that,
Yeah.
though? Yeah.
Yeah, the ice has barely retreated.
Yeah. Oh. No thanks. I've dipped into the North Atlantic here in Conception Bay in October when it was like at its very warmest, and no thanks. Won't be doing that again anytime soon. Have a look at the next 3 days and you can see where, yeah, certainly unsettled Thursday, Friday. Saturday, though, is what's most important to many, and it is looking like a great day. And if you want to see a picture...
Oh, look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, perfect. Paul Dole basically said everything lined up here, the sun, the whales, and what a shot. He did not mention where this was taken, but I'm guessing somewhere just off the coast.
It's so hard to get whales to model for you.
Yeah, it's true. But this one, a perfect pose, thanks to Paul.
So many nice whale pictures lately.
Absolutely.
That's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Have a great night.
Good night.